Google Cloud Summit in Seattle. We're going to find out what the future has to hold. Is it scary or really scary? Coming up next on Deceptions of the Ages News. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Deceptions of the Ages News. I would like to thank you, first of all, for subscribing. We are getting so many subscribers on this channel. It's just incredible. It's great, and we're really getting the word out about freedom-loving Americans and what we demand. And the one thing that we demand is we demand our constitutional rights. So one of those constitutional rights is the right to freedom of speech. And today I went to the Google Cloud Conference to see what was up in the world of cloud computing, but also to find out if anybody in the Google company had any words or comments about the fate of Alex Jones, who, if you don't know, is a right-wing conservative talk show host. And he has been banned from not only Google, but he's also been banned from Twitter and Facebook and all the other, social media sites. So I wanted to find out what was going on, what the thought was in the company, and I also wanted to see what new things are on the horizon. And let me tell you, I was pretty much astounded by what I saw. The first thing that I want to draw your attention to is that artificial intelligence that people keep talking about, that it's going to be in the future. No, it's happening right now. It's already being implemented. Google is using it for predictive mail so that you don't have to spend as much time emailing. They are using it. I will give you an example of for photos. They were using it for classifications of different types of clouds in their example, and they would have a cumulus cloud, a nimbus, a stratus, and all those other kinds of clouds. And then based on their characteristics, they would teach the computer which cloud is which. And then with a very high rate of accuracy, the computer was able to tell which cloud was which. Now, as people are sitting there watching this, I'm going, nobody is even asking the question, what else could this be used for? Because obviously clouds are very similar. People's faces are very similar. So let me give you my scenario of where I think this is going, or is already. So if you are a member of the Google Mafia or whatever, and you have a customer come into your store, say that customer being me or you, then they're going to take your picture. And they are going to follow you around, and you have a Fitbit or a watch or something on you that monitors, or your even phone that monitors where you go. And if you have one of these watches, that measures your physiological response to stimuli. So all of this stuff is being stored by these corporations. So your habits in the store are going to be monitored. And then if you go to another store that happens to be in the network, or wherever you go, they are just going to be able to log, because they have so much storing capacity that they can store unlimited information on you. And they just gave an example of a Rolls Royce or a jet engine that has, just for one flight, has 600 or 700 terabytes, or 6,000 or 7,000 terabytes, one engine, 6,000 or 7,000 terabytes of information for a flight, just monitoring its engine. So massive amounts of storage are needed. So if you can keep that much data, then just think about how many people you can keep data on, their physiological responses, their buying, shopping habits. It just, there's no end to it. Okay, so I just want people to be aware of this, that this is where this is going. And also, there is not one person saying, wait a minute, where are our civil rights? Where are our rights to privacy? Who is getting access to this information? Now, the conference moved on, And another engineer came up and he talked about how he was involved in the quantum computing project. So the quantum computing, there's two facets that I would like to look at. And the first one is that quantum computing basically means it's based on quantum physics, and it just means that a computer can look at all possibilities of a problem at the same time, instead of having to go through a step of logically doing this, of solving a problem. And also, Google is now able to replicate that same process with their technology as well, with this artificial learning. And the example, or artificial intelligence, the example that they used was they taught this program to recognize clouds, different types of cumulus, nimbus, etc. clouds. So within 90% degree of accuracy, it was able to follow these clouds. And I just wonder if anybody understands that it's not going to be clouds people are looking at. This is government looking at people's faces. This is corporations looking at people's faces, et cetera, et cetera. So, okay. Now, so there is quantum computing, and that means all possibilities at the same time. So that means that, I talked about they're using AI for predictive text, but with quantum computing, you are able to look at all possibilities at the same time. You are able to predict people's behavior. And you're going to have a computer that is going to insist, and the people who own the program, that that is correct. And if you don't know what the plot of this movie, it was in Minority Report, that was in with Tom Cruise. And so that is very much happening, and it's very much not only in the future, it is happening right now. So the last two things I want to talk about as far as the quantum mechanic thing, quantum computing thing, is that with quantum computing, you can determine all the possibilities at the same time, which means that there is no such thing as a password anymore. There is no such thing as encrypted text, because it can all be broken within probably milliseconds, right? All computing, all probabilities, everything at the same time. So those are the things that I think we need to be concerned about, because at the same time they're telling us that we need to put our business, our livelihood, our children's, the people we love, our friends, our photos, our lives onto a cloud on the internet and feel safe about it. At the same time, they're talking about something called artificial intelligence and quantum computing that are going to be able to predict, and not only predict, but hack into and take away and destroy our lives. So these are some things that I think are very important that we need to look at. And now let's go ahead and, oh no, I forgot the last thing. And that is this. While this engineer is giving his talk, and he's talking about the future of computing, cloud, whatever, this was not a slip. This was a blatant statement, and it went right over the top of everybody's heads, except for mine, I guess. But he said, and I'm paraphrasing because I wasn't taking a video at the time, but if somebody has this video, please share it. He said that we have gone from cloud computing, and in the future we're going to have quantum computing, alien computing, and then in the future after that, we're going to have quantum computing, artificial intelligence computing, AI computing, and alien technology computing. So I misquoted the first time, but twice he said alien technology. Alien technology, he said, right? And I didn't misread him, because the first time he said quantum computing and alien technology, and then it was AI, alien technology, and quantum computing. All right. So nobody in the room batted an eye. Nobody said anything. And just think about if it would have been 10 or 15, 20 years ago, people would have went, what? Alien technology? But no, nobody said anything about it. And I just sat there going, are you kidding me? Who are these people? All right, so I sat and listened to all of this talk about this technology basically invading all of our privacy, predicting our behavior, following us, tracking us, and all this information, unlimited storage, right? So it's something that people need to be concerned about, and it's one of the reasons I ran for the United States Senate, and I'm very active in politics. Because as part of my real deal, I said that we need to break up these monopolies because they are not the government. And I will insist on that. These companies are not the government. The government is separate from these companies, and the government controls these companies and makes sure that these companies follow United States law and respect United States citizens, which they do not do in the case of Alex Jones. So that's all I have to say about it. Let's go ahead and let's look at the footage that I have from the Google Cloud conference in Seattle, 2018, September 12th. Enjoy. Guys, I am actually right now in the belly of the beast. I am at the Google Cloud conference, and this is being held in downtown Seattle. And quite frankly, don't know anything about the cloud, except that it really bothers me on my Mac because it seems to take up all my memory. So anyway, we're going to learn a little bit about the cloud, but I just want to do a quick circle around because I want you to see just how many people are actually here. So what we're going to do today is we are going to attend some conferences, and we are going to talk to some people from Google, because one of the things that really is bothering a lot of people is this thing about how they're banning people off of YouTube because they don't believe in freedom of speech. So what they're trying to do now is they're trying to push this cloud on everybody, but what happens when they decide that you're somebody that they don't like? So what happens to your information? And then the other question is the information that you're putting on this cloud, is that actually secure? And who's going to have access to that? And what happens if you end up like Alex Jones or somebody they don't like? Do they just delete all your information? And then what happens when somebody hacks into it? Who's responsible for that? So these are all questions we're going to try to get answered here at this conference. And quite frankly, it's probably a lot of techno jargon. I have no idea what they're going to be talking about. So I think I'm going to grab some of the free breakfast and get the most out of this that I can. So we are at the Google Cloud Summit in Seattle, and I'm going to go grab some grub. All right, so we just got an invitation by a girl with a bell that the keynote is about to start. So we're going to head down the stairs and see what's going on with that and see if we understand anything these people are talking about. Big Brother is definitely watching you.
significant investment in Seattle for the last decade. As most of you are aware, we have offices in Kirkland. We have this ever-expanding Seattle campus. We have significant engineering teams here in the cloud business unit, along with marketing, office of the CTO, sales team, professional services, etc. So we love being in the Seattle market. There's a wonderful group of talented people here that we can draw on and a great set of customers. So once again, thank you for coming.
All right, it's pretty loud in here, but actually I just had a nice little talk with the guy who does internet security for Google, and I found out some very interesting things. Now, this whole conference is basically they want to sell people on the Google Cloud. And so we sat through a presentation where they talked about all the new platforms that they're going to be using. They talked about how fast it is. They talked about how fast this cloud is growing. And what they want to do, and although they're not saying it, is they just want to pull people off of Apple and get them into Google's cloud, which is fine, is what people do. So I had a nice chat with a gentleman over here that does internet security for Google, and I posed some questions to him, and one of the questions I asked him was basically about this Alex Jones controversy. And I pointed out that people, especially my viewers on Deceptions of the Ages, are very concerned about what's going to happen to us if a company like Google, who has so much information and they share so much information with their partners, what happens when they decide that we're just not the right kind of people? So my question is, if somebody like Alex Jones has all of his information on Google Cloud and they deem him no longer good enough for, I'm getting my picture taken. So, and they deem him no longer good enough for Google. Don't take that, please. Oh, they're trying to grab my drink. So back to my question is, what happens if Google says, okay, Alex Jones, we have all your data, but we're cutting you off? Does the data go with them? And the security people, they couldn't tell me the answer to that. So I asked them how Google feels about shooting themselves in the foot by basically limiting a person's right to free speech. And again, they don't have any comment about that. And they also advised me that they are not allowed to make comments about it, but still I want to ask these questions. Now, the next question I asked was, does Google consider itself an American company where people are guaranteed rights Americans are guaranteed, or are they more along the lines of China, where if they don't like what you say or stand for, then suddenly you are persona non grata? So these are some of the things that I've been asking here at the conference, and I really think that we all need to take a hard look at Google and YouTube, and we need to send them a message that we do not appreciate our rights of free speech and association and thought being violated. That's something for China, not America. So I'm Matthew HEINES for Deceptions of the Ages News. I'm here at the Google Cloud Summit in downtown Seattle. We'll see you next time.